Three, two, one. We are live. How are we all today? Ready for our free 1 p.m. Friday live webinar? Super duper exciting. I'm on here a few minutes early because I'm a little Eva Beaver and I've got myself very organized today and I want to just get started while I can. So welcome everybody that's going to be jumping on. Let's see if we've caught anyone. They're probably waiting till right on one. Alan, how are you today? Alan, you're the first joiner on our webinar. So we've got 2 viewers over there. Not sure how many over there. So this is a really interesting topic and I can't wait to dig deep into it and get started. As usual, while we're waiting for people to jump on, I will explain what's going on and why I keep looking from side to side like a yo-yo. So if you watch these every Friday, then you'll know, hey yo, that's funny. You'll know the drill, but in front of me over here, we have my personal page, Michelle Ann Saunderson with an E. And over here, we have my business page, Michelle Ann Soul Healer with an E. And this will also be shared onto my group, which is Soul Junkies Connect. If you haven't joined that, make sure you do. So Junkies, Soul Junkies Connect. It's a Facebook group that's really interactive. So make sure you're on all of those pages. If you're not added me as a friend on Facebook, oh, I knew this was going to happen. Alan, can you hear that welding noise out there? Let me know. I might have to shut the door, although I'm loving the cool breezes and the nice fresh air. So make sure you're on all those pages so you get, because I post a little bit of different content on both of the pages, all 3 of the pages, sorry. So make sure you're across all of them. And if you're on my Soul Junkies Connect, because it's being shared, I won't be able to see your actual live comments or questions. So maybe jump across to my business page or to my personal page. So that's all the introductions that are needed and we'll get straight into it. So today's topic is about I haven't forgotten. Light languages and light codes and the ins and outs of that. Now, if you guys are anything like me, you either have never heard of that, you don't know what I'm talking about because I'm talking another language and it's funny we're talking about languages, or you may have heard the terms, but you have really no idea what they actually mean. So if you're joining and you're watching this and you are any of those 3, I'd love to hear where you sit with it, because it is a topic that I wouldn't say would be really mainstream as such. And it's something that I think a lot of people probably would have no idea about and are keen to learn. So for those watching live, or even if you're watching later, I'd love to know where you're at with your knowledge base around this topic. And anything that you do know, feel free to share, because as always, I don't claim to be any expert in these fields. I just sharing my knowledge that I'm learning on my journey, and I want to basically include you guys on that journey so you feel part of what I'm doing and that you can evolve with me. So as I'm learning stuff, I'm passing it on to you, and I think that's a great way for everybody to learn together and we can share the knowledge, because I feel this type of information and stuff needs to be shared around. That's pretty much why we're here. So yeah, if anyone doesn't have any comments, I'll get right into it. So I'm picking weird and wonderful topics lately because I love to talk about stuff that's a bit weird and wonderful if you haven't worked out. So light language. So light codes and light language are very similar things. If you're over here, excuse my little scroll notes. This is what I do before I start. This is my behind the scenes notes. If you're on here, it just looks very professional. You wouldn't even know I have notes. Light language and light code. So basically, I'll talk about light language mostly, but light codes, and I've written this down so I can get it right, is basically light codes are codes of light that can be channeled into the physical realm. So you're getting codes of light, and then when they get put together, they become what we call a light language. So hopefully that's making sense. Now this stuff's quite hard to explain because it's not in our 3D world. As per usual, I struggle to get my words around it because it's not something we can touch, feel, see, hear, or anything with our senses. So it's something out there in the realm that humans find very difficult to put physical words around, which is so perfect, because what light language is the exact opposite. Light language is basically coming from the universe, and it's bypassing our brains so that we don't have to logistically think about the words. Because as you've seen, I'm very it's very difficult for me to explain it in human words what this is. So light language bypasses that and gets straight into your soul. So it comes from those realms that we can't see, and it's channeled into us, into our soul, into our being. So the official sort of definition of light language is channeled cosmic language. So cosmic meaning it's outside of the physical realm. So channeled cosmic language that distributes sound and energy to convey messages. So all a language is basically a thing that allows us to convey a message. But does language have to be what us humans call the word language? Like we use language as exactly what I'm talking now, what's coming out of our mouth. And yes, we have different languages and different dialects and different across our earth, where you could be speaking Japanese, Italian, English, but it's still pretty much the same. It's still coming out of our mouth. It's still a physical vibration. We can get intonations. Is that the word? Intonation? We understand even if it's in another language. Sometimes we get the gist of what the people are saying and mix that with a bit of hand language and body language, and you can usually understand it. But light language is completely different again. So light language isn't going to be in that, it's not always voice. I always thought like light language was actual things that come out of your mouth, because we're so caught up in our human experience that we assume there's nothing else out there other than what we know. Like we think we're the master of everything. And we call the word language what comes out of our mouth. So we would assume when someone uses the word light language that it's something that comes out of our physical mouth. It's not always true. So basically it's interpreted by the heart and the soul. So someone can be talking to you in light language or passing something on to you and communicating in light language. You don't understand what's going on in your logical brain. Your brain does not understand it. It doesn't have to understand it. This is a type of energy that bypasses all that, because what happens is when we try to talk to the brain is that it gets blocked. Our brain is very, very rational, and it likes to tell us that things aren't true, and it likes to block things that we don't either can't see, touch, feel, hear. So our brain blocks these languages. So what it's doing is bypassing the brain and hitting us straight into our soul. It's often called angelic language or galactic language or celestial language or ancient or futuristic, because it's pretty much all of the above. It's coming from the cosmic universe. It's not coming, someone's getting the willy. It's not coming from a human being to a human being. It's coming like angelic, so it's coming from the angelic realms. It's coming galactic, if that's what you believe in. If you believe that we're one part of a massive universe and that there's other galaxies out there, which I do believe, that it's a galactic language, so it's a language that can be spoken amongst the whole universe. Doesn't matter if you're a human being or you're some other, I don't know what's out there, but there's got to be something else out there other as well as human beings. And they're not going to speak in the same way we speak if they do speak. And how they will communicate, I feel this is a universal language. It's a language that can be communicated across the whole universe, communicated between plants, between animals, between humans, between other galactic beings, between angelic realms, celestial realms, all of that, between ancient civilization, futuristic, parallel universes. It's all very deep and meaningful, but it's something that can be understood by our soul. So it's not programmed by the hearing in the brain, which I spoke about, and it just speaks familiarly to you. You won't even know, but you'll have a familiar feeling about it. You'll just, wow, you'll be like, you'll hear it, and you're like, I don't know why, but that feels really good. And I can't put words around it, but I feel like I'm being healed. So this type of language often comes out in healings, and it often comes unexpectedly. So it started happening to me in healings where I was just feeling the urge to start making sound, because basically light language is not always language. So it can come in the form of singing, which does happen in my healings, signs, so literal different signs, drawing, so when you're channeling drawings, that can be a light language, writing, so channeling words, it come in maps, codes, inscriptions, and then light codes, which are making up the language, can come in color, sound, numbers, sacred geometry. All of that is all frequency. So it's a type of frequency that's coming into you. So it's not always spoken word. So yes, in a healing, I've started feeling the need to do some chanting. That's a type of light language. To sing. a type of light language. To move my hands in a particular way, a type of light language. I was drawing, doing channeling in my diary. I was getting geometrical signs coming through in my journaling. That's a light language. So it's all light language. It's a communication that we can't basically explain. Now, an example of light language is things like the dolphins and the whales. Has anyone ever listened to the frequency of dolphins or whales emitting that frequency between each other? That is their communication, and that is a type of light language, because they're, you know, that frequency that just. I don't know if you've heard the whales singing on a sound thing, or you've heard the dolphins talking under the water when they can actually measure it. It gets to the core of your being. It's a type of light language because they're actually communicating with each other. Trees and plants communicate. There's little machines that you can put on plants. I don't know if you've seen it. I'm keen to see it in real life, but apparently they put these electrodes on the plants, and then they say really nice things to the plants, and all the frequencies coming back from the plants is all these lovely frequencies. How cool is that? And then if you say nasty things or you rip a bit of the leaf off, the plant starts doing all this garbled, like horrible frequencies. So it's like the plant is talking and responding to how you're talking to it and what you're doing to it. So plants are living beings, animals are living beings, and they've got to communicate in some way. So they're letting off frequencies that we can't see. So they're like chemical impulses, basically. So you can picture something coming off trees or the plants or the animals. And yeah, so it's bringing together the spiritual and the physical. So it's bringing together that unseen and bringing it into the realm of physicality. So it does take a little bit of courage to speak light language if anyone has done it before or it's just randomly happened to them. It's a bit daunting at first when these things are coming out of your mouth and you have no idea what they are, and it's like you sort of can't control it because it happens spontaneously. A few people I know that do the light language or channeling say it's happened to them at the most mundane times. One of my friends, Alicia, channels, happened to her when she was hanging the washing out, doing a mundane task, hanging washing out. When I was looking into all this stuff, I read an article about a lady where it happened when she was washing the dishes. Washing the dishes. God, it must tell us we need to do housework more often. Maybe that's why I don't get light language that much, because I don't do much housework. So she was washing the dishes and she got this just overwhelming feeling of this male standing beside her, a name, and then this male voice came through her voice and just started talking. It's unreal stuff. And mine happens when I'm in trance. I don't get it when I'm in doing my mundane task, probably because I'm not doing the dishes or the thing in my clothes. No, I do that. Mine happens to me when I allow my brain to sort of switch off. So because I said it does bypass the brain. So if you're in a trance-like state and your logical brain isn't sort of over-analyzing everything, that's when stuff will come through and that's when stuff will flow. So the better or the more deep I am in trance, the more stuff that comes out of my mouth, the more messages that come through for people, and the more weird and wonderful stuff can happen. And sometimes even in healings, like there was one yesterday that I did where I wasn't actually channeling that much stuff through my mouth. And I thought, oh, and then my logical brain starts taking over saying in my head, oh, she's not getting enough. She's not getting, like, she's not getting it. She's just, oh my God, she's just meditating. Oh, wow, is she asleep? She's not getting anything. She's paid me money for this. Oh my God. And just takes over. And you've got to tell your brain to shut up. Like, that's your ego talking. Like, mine's called Missy. Back off. She's getting what she needs to get. And at the end of the healing, she was blown away. Like, she was like, holy dooly. Like, my dead grandma came through, gave me these messages, all my family lined up. I saw this person, this person, this person. This message came through. This made sense. All this stuff, blah, blah. I could see, I could feel, I could touch. I went off here. I did this. And all this happened without me actually having to even do anything. So it doesn't even have to be like verbal. It can be just coming at an energetic level and you're not even aware of it. Sorry about the background noise. It's worth it just to have the nice blinds open and the beautiful breezes. So yeah, it does take a little bit of courage, and but I feel that if that's what you're here on the planet for, then you need to suck it up and basically take the risk of being ridiculed for the sake of the better good, if that makes sense, for that person, to serve that person and also to serve humanity. If you can get over being ridiculed and just really embrace it, it just helps people way more. Yeah, so talked about all that. So I don't miss anything. So I wrote this down because I found this was quite interesting. The physical is where you manipulate reality. So that's what I talked about, your logical brain, manipulating reality. And the non-physical is connection and resonance. So they're the two very different parts of yourself. The physical brain, which is manipulating and controlling and having to have everything in making sense. And then the non-physical, which is more flowing, connected, just like, yeah, resonance, basically. So they're the two things that we're working with here. And what we're trying to do with light language is connect the two. So allow the non-physical to somehow become into the physical. That's pretty much what the role of light language is. So light codes. So this is still part of light language, but it's slightly different, and it can come, and again, it bypasses the brain, and often will come in meditation. So you'll often, if you're in a deep meditation or trance, you'll often receive light codes, and people aren't even realizing that's what they are. So they're often geometrical shapes. So if anyone on here, and feel free, I'll see if anyone's commenting while I'm rabbiting on here. Hello to everyone that's joined. Oh, my brother Alan, I'm writing a story that is more or less about this. Yes, I'll share it with you. Yes, and the rest of my soul group, you have to share with them too. Yeah, our family's got some pretty cool talents, actually. Jan Clark says birds. Yes, Jan has, in her healing, she has bird whistling come through really strongly. And again, that's just another language. It's the same, like I said, it's sing. And at the time when I was first doing Jan's appointment, was early in the days when I didn't actually understand any of this. And out of nowhere, this bird just came. Like I was beginning, my rational brain was saying, shit, maybe she had a pet bird that died, and this bird's like, it was like it was talking to her through me. And I giggled later because I thought, this is ridiculous. But I actually, my rational brain was saying to myself, shit, maybe she loves animals, maybe she had a pet bird that she was really connected to, that's passed on, that's now coming through and giving her messages in this bloody bird language. But looking back now, I think it's a type of light language. It's just another way of communicating with sound and frequency. And it does have the resonance and the intonation like you are speaking in human language sometimes. So yeah, light codes come in meditation. They come in shapes, patterns, colors. And if you're worried about what you would call is just your imagination versus actual what they would call light codes, is light codes are like smack bang usually in your third eye. So when you're in your meditative state, if they're coming right in front of your face like this, and they're really geometric, like sacred, it's called sacred geometry. It's often geometry that your brain can't even comprehend or that you haven't seen before. So some shape or symbol that you think, oh shit, I don't know what that is. That would often be a light code, and often they're like quite bright neon and in a golden or crystalline sort of fashion. So if you're getting things like that in your meditations, what you're doing is probably receiving light codes into your meditation. So basically a light code or light language is a way of healing because it's bringing through that channeled spirit energy, and it's just in a way where our soul can understand it. So it is healing. So it makes sense that when I do my healings that it's all coming in these other forms because that's part of the healing, if this makes sense. Is this making sense to everybody? Please tell me it is, because I think it's making sense to me, but it's really hard to explain. If anyone's got any questions, I'm not always sure I can answer them, but feel free to post them. And as usual, if you jump on later and you do a hashtag replay and ask questions, I can get back to you. Yeah, so I've written here, it's encoded light information to assist your body in healing. Does that make sense? So it's encoded light information to assist your body in healing. It's, what have I written here? Words. Yeah, words are the most familiar type of light language because that's what we know, which I talked about. And there's an example of, if most people are aware of this book, but there's a book called Hidden Messages in Water by Masaru Emoto. He's a Japanese man, and he did a study on water. I'm sure you've all heard of it, so I won't go into it too much. But water, if you're talking to water and you're putting beautiful words of love and gratitude and all the beautiful words, then they put the water under the microscope and then it can see all the geometrical, like the crystal, the cellular level of water was all beautiful and symmetrical and all beautiful sacred geometrical shapes like snowflakes. And then if you said anger and nasty and horrible comments to the water, or I think they even placed like words on the bottles, and then they put it under the microscope and it was all jagged and angry looking, and it's an amazing experiment. So Jess over here says, if I can see more, I remember one meditation I did online, my feet didn't stop tingling for about 10 minutes, and the different / variety of colours I saw were amazing. It makes sense. Yeah, so colours. Because really when you think about it, oh, my feather just flew off. Ooh. Really when you think about it, it's all just frequency. I talk about this all the time. Colour is just a frequency. Like different colours match different frequencies. Obviously yellow is a really, really high frequency colour. It's really bright and it makes people happy because it's such a high vibration, high frequency colour. Whereas black and brown is a darker colour and a lower frequency, which is why we always associate black and darkness with low vibration. So yeah, it does make complete sense that if you're receiving colours and you're receiving sound, which is frequency, that this is a type of communication. And Reiki's, I found, I love Fridays because I learn stuff that I don't even know about. Apparently Reiki, and I've done level 1 Reiki, is a transmission of light codes from the divine. So in Reiki, that's exactly what you're doing, is you're actually transferring light codes from the divine or the cosmos or whatever you want to call it through yourself into the person. So that's what Reiki is. So healing is basically transferring light codes. And that's why healing is so hard to explain to someone as to what's happening in healing, because it's not in the physical realm. It's all in the spiritual realm. Kayla says, yellow around lately with a little yellow love heart. Yeah, yellows are really, I've always loved yellow. My first new car, like my personal, when I bought a new car, was yellow. And it always made everyone say, why have you got a yellow car? And I just look him in the eye and say, because it makes me happy. Now leave me alone. Yeah, I love yellow. It just makes me happy. Yeah, so there's so much going on with these light codes and light language, and yeah, there'll be studies and studies on it. And what I do find too, and I think, and I don't know what everyone's belief systems are, but I always come up with next week's topic on the week before, but there's a lot of knowledge. I don't know how deep to go here because I don't know how into anyone watching this is obviously into a little bit of woo-woo, but if anyone believes there's other things going on in the universe or other beings in the universe, there's different, I don't know that much about it, but galaxies or planets, and there's things called Lemurians and Syrians, and they're all different, like galactic nations, I suppose you'd say. And I have heard that they have different light languages themselves. So some people can speak fluently in this language. And I have done it again. I have done this language that is not human, and it's this intonation. I couldn't probably even try to do it right now, but it's like this, like yeah, my tongue's going so fast I can't even explain like what it is. It's certainly not human language, but it's this, and I can't stop it. Like it's crazy. It goes on and on. And again, it's transferring something, and you don't always have to know what it is to the person. So yeah, that's a whole nother thing that might open up you to look into. But I am reading books. I'm still not very good at reading. I read a bit, I love it, and then I get completely sidetracked by Dolores Cannon, Dolores Cannon. And her first book, I think, was called Convoluted Universe, and she talks all about this stuff and all the different stars and bodies and galactic beings and all sorts of weird stuff. But to me, as a human, it makes sense that we're not the only ones in this universe. There's got to be more out there. And yeah, I think we're a very, 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 very small piece of the universe. We love to think, our egos think that we like are something special, but I think we're probably the lower end of the chain of intelligence around this bloody universe, just quietly. But yeah, we're doing the best we can. That's all I'll say. Hannah's got that book. Oh, cool. You're all over it. So yeah, Dolores is she does, like, I think she started off doing past life regression and then takes people back even further through their past lives, and a lot of them go back to other star planets and start speaking about life on, I should concentrate more when I read these things, say Syrians, I think, come from Syria. It's a star, I think. And then I shouldn't talk on, I don't know what I'm talking about. But yeah, back, and all this stuff comes out in their regression. And the best thing about it is it's backed up by different people. So some lady on the bed, on the hypnotic, is getting hypnotized, will be talking about life here and what, you know, her sole goal was to be taken from here and put down on earth to start helping us poor little earthlings. But then she'll have another man and another 6 people that will all regress and come back with similar stories. It's unreal. Like, it's unreal. And her book is word for word, like the interview style. Like, I said this, the patient said this, I said this, patient said this. And it's unbelievable when you see the different stories, but how they're all very similar. And that if one person was making this up, I don't know how the other 10 people that she's regressed have come up with the same story. It's unbelievable. And hence why I'm starting to become more of a believer that there's more out on this earth than just us humans. Anyway, do we have any questions? Because I'm nearly finished. So this is very, it's not too in-depth because it's only 30 minutes. But it gives you something to think about, and if you're interested, you can start digging a bit deeper on the online, Googling, getting books, doing meditations around it. There's lots of light language meditations you can do. If you want to listen to what light language sounds like, you could Google that, and you'll find people that have YouTube videos just doing light language. And it's all different, like it won't all be the same. Some people will be singing, some people doing clicking, and some people just chanting. I don't know, it's all different. So yeah, any questions before I go? Jessie, I'll be looking into it for sure. Thank you. Good work, Jessie. Thank you for being interactive. Anyone on this one? No, I can't wait to hear my brother's story. Alan, he's writing a story on exactly this, which is exciting. So before I go, as always, I like to tell you about the upcoming events. I just ran my meetup, so that one is done and dusted and was amazing. The next meetup is on the, I should get this right, it's the long weekend in May, and I've already booked it, so I'm not changing it. It is the Sunday the 3rd of May, so at the late $10 tickets as per usual. And what else have we got? Oh, Soul School. So a couple of you on the call are actually part of Soul School at the moment, and it's been amazing. So Soul School is an online 4-week intensive program where you basically can learn all how to reconnect back with yourself and how to sort of live your life more in alignment. And it goes through, you know, your physical, which is your 3D realms, into your mental and emotional, and it's mixed in with the spiritual side, so the energetic or your spiritual realm. And it's putting all the pieces together to make you so that you can come out the other end just feeling connected back in with yourself. And the ultimate goal of Soul School is you come out the other end with a purpose in life, that you are much more aware of why you're here, and as everything starts to drop in and you start to do your healing, that you come out the other end basically a better person, and then you share that with other people. So anyone on here has been part of Soul School, feel free to leave a comment, because they're absolutely loving it. So it's 4 weeks, it's $590, and within that you're getting daily content, you're getting a weekly Zoom call with myself, and you get free tickets to my meetups and my We Run Cacao circles here as well. So it is really good value, really good value. And we do payment plans as well. How long have I been channeling for? I would probably say not that long, probably a year and a half, maybe, so 2 years maximum. And yeah, I can't do it on like that. I've got friends that can just ask a question, get themselves into state, and then they just start talking. I'm not quite at that level yet, but I'm going to look into it further and see if I can really hone my skills, because I can certainly do it when I do my healings when I'm in trance. Yeah, but it'd be really cool to be able to just channel at the drop of a hat. Yes. Yeah, so that's it. I'm going to jump off now. It's nearly been half an hour. As usual, if you've got any topics for next week or anything that you would like to know about, send me a personal message and I can do that. Next week I'm in Townsville. So next week I won't be doing a webinar, unfortunately. I'll be probably flying back from Townsville at 1 o'clock. If not, I would have just landed, so probably a bit difficult. Sorry. Next week after that. I know a lot of you have been telling me that you love these webinars, that you hang out for 1 o'clock on Fridays, which is really good to hear. So apologies if that's something you were going to look forward to. It's not going to happen, but definitely the Friday after. So thank you for listening, and I love you guys as usual, and I will see you guys Friday after next. But keep an eye on my Facebook because I'm always on here doing live videos. All right, see you guys. Bye. See ya.